Hello, welcome to this week's UKRunChat Podcast. I'm Michelle, and today's episode is all about a challenge that's taken consistency over the last year, and resilience, and a big amount of heart and fundraising. So in March 2025, James Hunter set himself a goal to mark turning 40 in a pretty incredible way, taking on 40 very different events across 12 months. So from half marathons to trail races, cycling, hiking, his Mission 40 challenge has pushed him physically, all while raising money for a cause that's very close to his heart. So James is supporting RUHX, which is the official NHS charity of Bath's Royal United Hospital. It's a place that's played a very important role in his life and his family and friends in recent years. Now, as he reaches the end of his journey, he's come on to chat to us to reflect on what it's taken the last year and what is to come for his grand finale of Mission 40. James, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. So how does it feel to be nearing the end then of this challenge?
Oh, first of all, thanks for having me on to have a chat. It's really good to talk to you. So I think, yeah, it's been tough. It's been long, but it's also been really exciting. And I've just done all manner of different distances, mainly running, but we've also fitted in a bit of cycling and some other quirky things as well. So I actually wrote some prompts down that I've managed to finish 10 5Ks, 12 10Ks, 6 half marathons, and then 9 other trail races at all manner of distances. And then there's something special coming at the finish, which I think we're going to chat about a bit later on. But yeah, it's been fantastic, and just trying to do something big and something difficult for a big milestone, something I was really keen to have a go at. So yeah, we're nearly there. We've got 6 to go. So we're nearing the finish now.
Yes, getting very close. So just take us back to the start. So where did the idea come from for Mission 40 then?
Well, I've done quite a few fundraising things in the past, notably the Bath Half Marathon in 2016. I was raising money for blood cancer. I lost my uncle in 2015 to blood cancer, so that was a big charity push for blood cancer back in 2016. So that was the first one. And then back in 2023, I was raising money for Asthma and Lung UK. My mum's always suffered. She's a chronic asthmatic, so that was a charity that I was really close to. So trying to run a 200-minute marathon, which I managed on the day in London, which was incredible. Wow. So trying to do something bigger than that for a 40th birthday was the aim. And I was actually out cycling just one day, and I thought, well, maybe I could. I don't know why the idea came into my head, but as soon as it was planted, I thought maybe this is something I need to do. So that was the genesis of it, really. I was just out cycling, and then that's when most of the best ideas come to people, isn't it? When you're doing you're not actually trying to think of something.
Yeah. So would you call yourself more of a runner, or do you generally have a good kind of mix of different sports that you enjoy then?
Oh, definitely more running since I've been doing this. Yeah. I mean, I commute to work on my bike quite often. I cycle with my dad. My dad's a keen cyclist, so I like to use the cycling more. I've done some cycling events in the past, but more of a runner, really. That's my main passion, and across all different distances, as I'm sure we'll chat about. But
yeah,
I'd say running probably is the main one for me.
Yeah. So why did turning 40 feel like the right moment for it?
I just think it's one of those milestones in life, isn't it, where you feel like you're getting a bit older, but then also I wanted to prove to people that that it doesn't have to be like a ceiling on what you can achieve in terms of like your PBs for 5Ks or half marathons or any other distance you fancy, or even like a 3K track race, which I've done one of as well. Yeah. So I think it was obviously, as well as raising money for a cause that's close to me, is also just showing people that even though you're getting older, that if you train properly and you've got trust in your own confidence and the goals, and you get yourself organised and you're passionate about something, you can actually you can beat a PB that you did 10 years ago. And that's another little message about the challenge as well, really.
Yeah, that's important, I think, isn't it, to remember. Were you did you do a lot of events anyway before this challenge? Because 40 in a year, it's a big ask, isn't it, for a lot of us? So was that something you had to do a lot of training for?
Yeah, I mean, it's ended up being that some of the races I've done have ended up being almost like training sessions for like
Yeah.
a bigger happening the next week, while still trying to enjoy that race, make sure I finish and don't get injured as well. So yeah, that's been something which has certainly crept in now and getting towards the end and the bigger races are coming. That's definitely been something which I've had to think about, is just trying to not get injured, and also keep the fitness up and use the races as actual. I don't want to say glorified training sessions, because there have been some wonderful local races I've done, but also just be mindful that I need to try and finish these races and get to the end, because 40, as you say, is a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so,
How have you looked after yourself kind of during the year in terms of
so
recovery?
yeah, I mean, I stretch every day. I just make it like a religious thing. Obviously, more so after races, like the day after race day. And I've got some other quirky things which I've learned through other runners and other running coaches and people at my club. Wearing compression socks to bed after a race, it does wonders for your calf muscle recovery. Never would have thought of this type of thing a year or two ago. But it just really helps recovery. Also, just trying to get enough sleep, just all the basics really that you try and do in everyday life also apply when you're trying to do something difficult as well. I think if you don't get the basics right, then something's going to creep up and catch up with you. And you're going to start creaking a bit, especially if you're doing a race or sometimes 2 or 3 races a week when I've been cramming them in.
Yeah. Wow. Has it been that many? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the type of thing where you're trying to, obviously, you can only do races when the races are on. So
Yeah.
I've even done some midweek races as well. And just trying to squeeze races in as and when they're happening. Little 5K races on a Wednesday evening in the middle of Somerset in the dark in middle of January. So there's been all manner of stuff. And it's been really cool to just find new races that I'd never done before, which have just popped up on my Instagram feed. Obviously, there's a lot of running content going on, and you just get different things. Another really quirky one I did was down in Breen, over in near Weston-super-Mare. You actually run down to an old fort and through the fort and back
Oh,
round.
is that on the peninsula out into sea? Yeah, I think we stopped there on the way down to Devon a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
It's an amazing place, isn't it? So there's a 5K there.
that was a 10K, and it was as well in middle of January. So like head torches and all that sort of stuff. And that's just something I maybe wouldn't have even noticed. I mean, I'm not that far away from Weston-super-Mare, but you tend to stick to the races, the nice 10K road race, or the main big half marathons at Bath and Cardiff and what have you. So it's been really cool. There's been some fantastic local races. Another one which stands out is it's actually my club's local race, which is coming up again in May. And it's down in a town called Shepton Mallet in Somerset, and that's called the Runaway Train. And actually runs over the old viaduct, and uses the old railway line. And it's just such a quirky little race. And so it's just been really cool to mix everything up and just have a complete cross section of distances and disciplines.
Yeah, oh, that's good. So take us back to the start then, when you decided to do Mission 40. So talk us through the planning for it. And does it get expensive entering all these races? Because that's quite a big commitment, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously some of the big half marathon races are quite pricey now. I belong to another club, Team Bath Athletic Club, based at Bath University. So obviously you do get an affiliated entry for a lot of these races, which helps a tiny bit. Every pound helps. But also I've found that there's so many races out there which are actually quite good value. And I think there's more than people realise, that you can do a little 5K race on a Wednesday and it's all chip timed and properly measured, and it's 10-12 quid. So that's the sort of thing, you go on the internet, you think, oh, there's a half marathon and it's £45, and it does, it's tough for people. Just organising myself, picking and choosing stuff, trying to do as many different types of races as possible as well, rather than just doing 20 10Ks on road, which would be fun, but it wouldn't be as much of a challenge, I don't think. And that was the whole point of the motivation is to try and just do as many different types of races as possible.
Yeah. So you started in March, and you mentioned you were kind of some of the races were training for other ones. So did you start with shorter races in March then? Because that's kind of coming up to marathon season, isn't it?
Yeah. So starting back March 25, I think some of the toughest races were at the beginning because I was struggling with a bit of a niggly knee back then. So the sort of opening 5 or 6 races were actually quite tough. And yeah, just trying to just fit races in when I could. Really, I wasn't really able to sort of build up to a marathon distance or a half marathon distance or a 20-mile trail race or something. There was a complete mix really of distances. I could be doing 5K one week and then like a 15-mile trail race the week after, and then followed by a 10K road race. So it's been a proper mix. And it's been some pretty tough back-to-backs as well, and some difficult sections. I tend to look at a month and think this month doesn't look too bad, but you just need to not be complacent, because like a 10K road race can still be hilly and can still be tough. So it's been a complete mixed bag. If you tried to plot all the distances on a graph, it would be all over the place, to be honest. But it's been fun. It's been fun to do it that way, I think.
Yeah. Was there anything that kind of didn't go to plan from kind of how you thought it might at the beginning?
Yeah, so it's been a bit backloaded. And yeah, I could have fitted everything into 12 months, as you said at the beginning. I've actually extended by about 3 weeks for reasons which we'll chat about. But I actually got a little bit injured in the summer. I was still able to run, but I was feeling a bit creaky. So I had a few weeks off. That was difficult because then obviously you're just missing weeks. And at the very beginning, it looked quite manageable. So that was probably another tough period, is just in the middle, like end of last summer.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep it from becoming a proper injury, basically, while still trying to tick off some events. When I got myself sorted, then obviously everything's fallen into place now, and I've got a proper plan to get to the finish for mid-April. So, but yeah, it's been up and down. But I feel, touch wood, I'm in a good place at the moment.
Yeah. So what contributed to the injury then? I'm really interested in this, because I do feel it's important, if anybody's listening out there, obviously, if you're going to take on a challenge like this, you need to make sure you're a kind of regular runner, you've been running a long time, and that you trained enough. So I don't want anybody out there thinking I can go and do this and get themselves injured. So I just wanted to ask you kind of what kind of led to the injury and what you did to help it, really, just to help people listening out there.
Yeah, I think everybody who runs, however seriously, will always have niggles and weaknesses in their body, of a bad back or a bad knee or a bad ankle. And mine's quite often in the past been my knees. I'm sure a lot of people will resonate with. And I think just trying to keep it at bay, I think just doing a lot of the races back to back, and things just creep in. The way I've managed to get on top of it was to just have the confidence to take a break, and know that like rest is healthy when you need to rest, and knowing that I still had 7 or 8 months to get everything finished. So just, having the confidence to stop and not try and push through, I think is really important. And also then when you do get back on top of stuff, is just try and be consistent with, stretching and strength work it's not every runner's favorite thing. We don't
no.
It's so important. I tend to do something else when I'm doing my stretching. So I'll have the telly on or have a podcast on, just to try and break the monotony really of doing a 20-minute strength session or a stretching session, because it's not something that we love doing particularly, but you've just got to be consistent with it and try and make it as fun as you can, really, and know that if you do these things, you're less likely to get injured, and then your purpose is to finish the challenge. So the purpose of the stretching and the strength work is to be able to do the fun stuff. So just trying to keep that in the back of your head, I think is important.
Yeah, it's really important, and it's good that you kind of listened to your body there and thought, right, I'm going to take a break, because a lot of us don't, do we? We think we'll just push on, and we can just often make it worse. But when you've got a big challenge to finish like that, I guess you've always got that end goal in sight, haven't you? And you need to Yeah. So with the stretching, is that something you would do regularly anyway, or have you kind of brought in more recovery elements? You mentioned the compression socks earlier, didn't you?
Yeah, I've always done stretching, and I try and do it first thing so it's done. Like I'm into work in the morning, and I know I've done my stretching for the day. I might do a little bit more in the evening if I've gone for a run at lunchtime or something. Or I've got an evening race, and I also use things like massage guns and that type of thing. I find really useful, and they're becoming a little bit more affordable nowadays as well from when they first came onto the market. So, and again, I can do that while I'm watching the TV or something.
Yeah.
So I don't find time necessarily um, to recover, to spend time recovering or just maintaining, keeping injuries away. So just little bits and pieces, really. It's just the small habits, I think, which compound, rather than to try and find an hour to do some stretching. Like we a lot of us don't have that
Never
time.
going
So
to happen, is it, realistically? No.
and then you do nothing. So
Yeah.
even if you find 10 minutes and you can just do 10 minutes a day, it is gonna compound over time and help you. And that's what I found.
Yeah, that's a really good way to think about it. So looking back then, what's been your favourite event so far, would you say?
I think probably one which has just happened. So back in the middle of March, it was my 41st birthday. So the Bath Half Marathon, which is my home half marathon, happened on my birthday
Oh,
by
that's
luck.
nice. Yeah.
So that's a big sort of. I think the standout events for me have been what I like to call like the headline races of Mission 40. So the first event was the Bath Half Marathon, which was the day after my 40th, and then the 41st birthday, which is the fifth on the 15th of March this last month. So that was a great one to do those two. I really loved that one, and I just, as proof of what we've been chatting about, I managed to go 8 minutes quicker in 2026 than I did in 2025. And I think
That's
that's
amazing. Yeah.
just recovering from injury. So trying to take it steady on that first one, but getting around, I think I got around in 132 and just dipped under 140 for the one last year. So I was absolutely chuffed to bits for that. And it was my birthday, like loads of family.
Yeah.
My niece, who was watching with a big sort of power boost sign for you to high five as you go by. All of those sorts of things, like that made that a really special day to run in your home city a half marathon distance on your birthday. That doesn't get a lot better than that for me, with all your friends and family watching. So that was amazing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I was going to ask that question actually. Have you noticed your fitness improving over the year with all the racing? Because it must tune you up if you.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really been aiming for PBs or anything, because I just know that the aim is to finish the challenge and raise as much money as I can for the charity. So it's tough. Like, you want to push when you get into a 10K race, and you can go quicker. So I've had to. There's a lot of self-discipline on some of these races, but I have picked out a few, like the Bath Half being one when I decided to give it some on that particular day, but also just just trying to make sure that you're trying to finish 40 events, and it's no good going all out on the 29th one and getting to the 33rd or 34th and thinking, I'm done now, like I'm running out of fuel, my knee's playing me up again, or I've got a bad back or shoulder. So just trying to just be mindful of the bigger picture, really, for some of these events.
Yeah, so there's been some races where you've just done for kind of fun and a bit of variety, and have there been ones where you have actually pushed for a
Yes. Yeah, so I've done, so back last summer there was a couple of local 5K races in Somerset and Wiltshire, so I really pushed on those just to do a good 5K time, which was just under 20 minutes, so I was well chuffed with that. And also some of the other races, so I actually did a park run, my local park run, with my friend's son, and he's 11, and he ran a 20 minutes and 30 something seconds 5K, and he's 11.
At 11, that's amazing.
With him, but the bigger picture to that event, doing a park run as an event, which I wouldn't have normally picked, but it was to support him. He'd actually needed a lot of care with RUHX. He fell ill quite a few years ago, just I think it was 2018, 2019, with complications from chickenpox. So he needed a lot of support from the charity, and it was great to he's now fully recovered, but actually to prove that he could do a 20 minute, pretty much a 20-minute 5K, and that was a nice tie-in with RUHX. to do that event and run it with him. And to be honest, I was a bit complacent, thinking I knew he's quite quick, but I thought, the 5K park run, it'll be a nice little event. But he was gone, and I was really having to push to keep up with him. So I mean, it was really fun to do that. So yeah, that was another highlight as well, and a nice time with the charity as well, and some good promotion for them.
Yeah, oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, what a superstar. So now sounds like a good time for you to just tell us a little bit more about the charity then.
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned at the beginning, so it's the official charity of the City of Bath's hospital, which is the Royal United. They basically raise money to support the hospital. So they're looking after the staff there, research and development for groundbreaking research, and also they've got their campaign at the moment is to raise £4 million over the next 3 years. So that is to raise money for a brand new specialized CT scanner. It's called a PET CT scan. Don't ask me the details of it, but it's a big campaign they're running. And just as another really close connection to me and for Mission 40, my mum actually needed to use the use of one of these scanners recently. So that was back in February when she was struggling with illness. So that's just been an even closer connection with me and the charity. So that's their big push at the moment. And you can find out more at RUHX.org.uk. So that's where you can find them online and about all the work that they do.
Yeah, and we'll share a link to your fundraising page as well in the show notes. So do have a look in there if you want to find out a bit more about the charity. So I was going to ask, how have you found out about all these local races? Because we don't seem to have in the UK one kind of central place, do we, to kind of look for races? It can be quite frustrating trying to find all these local events. So any tips if we're trying to find something a bit quirky and a bit different?
Yeah, I think just the power of social media has really helped. I mean, I think if you're into running or any form of exercise and you start following those types of pages, then you do have, I mean, I know ads are annoying, but I've actually found it really useful over the 12 months to pick up things. There's also various other pages on Instagram. I know yourselves that you share all manner of people's stories, which just really helps people know what's going on across the whole UK. And sometimes if you're lucky, it's in the southwest where I am. So also there's a website called Run Finder, which is really, really useful. So it's a little plug for them. I found the guy that runs that, he's posting stuff all the time. And just using social media to and also just the good old fashioned word of mouth as well, just chatting to your running friends.
Yeah.
I'm part of a local trail running club on the Mendips, and also Team Bath as well, up at University of Bath. So, and there's dozens of us there every week, and everybody's training for something. And it could be trail running, or it could be cycling. As people do all sorts of stuff. So, just chatting to your friends, and also just using that's all I've done really, and that's been more than enough. I think I had listed over 50 races that I could have done when I first started this, and I needed some backups because of the injuries last summer, and also weather gets in the way, wind and snow, and the winter that we've just had with all the floods and everything. So so I've just done that really. It's not been that complicated.
Yeah.
Been a lot of organisation, but it's not been that tough to find, I find, to be quite honest.
Yeah, there is plenty out there, isn't it? As you say, it's finding out about them. But running clubs are certainly a good idea there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess your algorithm is all running now, is it, and races?
Fine with me. I love it. Yeah, it's if the whole news feed's about running, then I'm happy.
So just talk to us a little bit about the kind of the practicalities of doing races, kind of some three during the week. Are you kind of training around that as well, aside from strength training? I mean, kind of running training. Are you still doing your own kind of regular running, or are you just using that time as rest?
Yeah, I mean, rest is super important. I've definitely done more resting than I thought I was going to, but I needed to do that. And I don't think we need to be afraid of resting. I think there's a tendency to think that you need to be pushing all the time. You need to be, if you're taking on a big challenge, you need to be fit and strong, getting faster and faster. But the way you do that a lot of time is by sleeping and resting. So I've been going to my clubs a little bit more infrequently because I get carried away when I'm running around the track at university trying to keep up with people, and then thinking actually I've got a 10k tomorrow. So, but yeah, I've not really done a proper training block because it's been so difficult to actually. I would say it's almost impossible to have a training block for a complete cross section of races. It just probably wouldn't work. So it's just been trying to be consistent in terms of just ticking over, not pushing when I need to, and just making sure there's plenty of easy runs, which just really does build endurance. And I don't think many of us know that. Just the long easy runs are really, really important when you're just running within yourself, and just having that time on your feet is really, really important as well. And just never underestimate the power of rest and sleep. It's just such an important thing. And so you're fresh. If you're doing a 15-mile trail run and you've been pushing, going to the gym in the evening and stuff, and you've not been at home resting, it's probably it might not pay off, especially if you're trying to do 40 events.
Yeah, very, very sensible advice. So you've done lots of different types of events. So what's been your kind of favourite? I know we talked about Bath Half, but apart from that one, what's been your favourite one?
I actually did my sort of own event back last summer. So one which stands out as well was I actually did a 100-mile cycle. Obviously, I wanted to do a little bit of stuff which wasn't running as well. So actually organised a bike ride with my dad. My dad did, I think it was over 60 miles with me and my uncle. And they've both been recovering from various illnesses and issues in the past. So my dad, again, had to be rushed into hospital. I had a heart attack whilst he was out cycling back in 2022. So again, that was calling upon the RUH at the time. So he'd worked his way back and was then cycling 60 miles with me. I was just then silly enough to carry on when I got home to get up to 100. So so that was a really fun one, and something a bit different. Yeah, I mean, I've actually got a list. So this is like a sort of master list of everything I've done. So the green races are the ones I've finished, and I've just got a few left at the bottom. But I even did like a little 5k race at Glastonbury Festival whilst I was at the festival. There was an organised 5k. I mean, what else have we got here? All of the local half marathons that you see. I did my 50th park run, so I made that into a bit of a race as well. So there's been some sort of left field ideas as well as just your standard 10Ks and 5Ks and half. The other one which I really love is a race called the Grizzly, which you may or may not have heard of. It's an iconic oversubscribed race down in Seaton in Devon, and that's a 20-mile trail race. And I think it's over 3,000 feet elevation as well. So it's sort of mud pits and bogs and like unrunnable hills. I mean, probably unwalkable hills, to be quite honest. I was up with a rope at one point. So, but yeah, I love all of that sort of stuff as well. That's an iconic race, and I did that the week before the Bath Half. So yeah, that was a particularly tough. I mean, March has been. The beginning of this month has been really tough. I'm actually looking forward to a 10k on Sunday because I'm only for 10k rather than 20 miles or a half marathon. So there's different reasons to look forward to all these different things. Sometimes it's going to be an epic challenge and it's a really big one, and sometimes you can think, well, actually, I can just make sure I get through this one and don't get injured and just enjoy the experience with all of the people at the race that are doing it with you as well. I think that's really important, just to enjoy them as much as you're finding it a challenge. We need to enjoy doing these races as well as eat our times and stuff.
Yeah, I think you sent me a photograph of you looking very muddy. Which event was that?
That was probably the Grizzly. I think
the Grizzly.
I think we're knee deep at one point in mud. So I mean, they deliberately make you run through these mud pits.
Yeah, it's meant to be fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all part of the excitement and all the fun and the comedy of it. To be honest, it's great. It's such a great race. But also at the same time, you do need to remember, whilst you're having fun, you've got to get to the finish of a 20-mile trail race. So there's a lot of concentration, but also, there were some amazing food stations as well. So there's a lot of like cake eating and stuff as well.
Yeah, good. Yeah, like the sound of that.
I mean, I'm not ever going to say no to that. So I mean, that's not the reason I'm signing up for these, but it's a bonus.
So you're very close to the end. So you've done, at the time of recording, you've done 34 events and you've got 6 to go. So what's next?
So next we have got 10k road racing in Calne over in Wiltshire on Sunday, and then I've got a little trio of races over the Easter weekend. A 10k in Weston Burt, which is in Gloucestershire, and then I've got a little 5k race down in Midsummer Norton, which is very close to me. And then randomly a 9k race. I've never done a 9k race before, but that's
it's an
not sure.
unusual distance, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's over in Bristol. Again, another one I've never done. It's called the Hannam Horror, so that'll be fun. Sounds muddy and hilly, so we'll see how I get on with that.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to finish with, so the big reveal basically is to finish with 2 back-to-back marathons. So I haven't really told anybody about this yet, some friends and family, but I'm going to be finishing. So event 39 is Brighton Marathon, and then event 40 I'm finishing up in Manchester for the Manchester Marathon. So definitely going to be taking it steady on these next few, with April in mind, and just making sure that I finish basically. There's going to be no London Marathon 3 hours 20 minutes heroics at these races. It's just going to make sure I finish the races, and hopefully it is a marathon, so it's going to hurt, but hopefully the opportunity to enjoy the event a bit more rather than staring at my Garmin and seeing whether I'm on track for a PB, and just enjoying the whole experience of a marathon weekend a little bit more than usual. Hopefully that's the aim anyway.
Yeah, that sounds fun, because sometimes we can get so caught up in times, can't we, that we forget what the experience of actually running a marathon in big crowds is like.
Yeah, and also just enjoying getting. I remember my coach telling me, when I trained for London, that you need to enjoy the start line almost more than the finish line, because of, it's when I'm on the start line at Manchester in particular. It's going to be the last event, and you're focused on the race, and you should be, but also you need to celebrate getting to the start. For anyone who's doing any race which they find challenging, even if it's a 5k or a park run, or half marathon or an ultra marathon, it's the training which really takes up your time and energy across weeks and months. And I think that's so important that you just take a moment as you're walking up to the start and you're about to hit your watch, that you just remember what you've done to get there. And that's just as important, I thought, even more important than actually what happens on the day, I think, which people say is the victory lap, don't they? That's that's a great thing, but getting to the start is a victory, I think.
Yeah, that's a great perspective, actually, because I guess at the point you are now, does running a marathon still feel like a challenge? So getting to the start line still a celebration for you? Because you must be at kind of peak fitness now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling good. I think because it's just the whole event and just making sure, I'm doing it for a big charity I'm really passionate about and really I really care about. So it's really important to me that I finish, that I get through the marathon, that I'm feeling pretty good. But also, I don't think anybody should underestimate a marathon. I do expect to finish, and I don't think there's wrong with having that confidence. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But there's a line between confidence and arrogance, overconfidence, and complacency, which I'm going to be lining up in Brighton thinking, I need to finish a marathon, and nobody needs to be thinking it's going to be a walk in the park. So I'm feeling confident, but I'm also wary of what marathons can do to people, especially when you've let your guard down. So I'm going to try and enjoy it, because that's what that's why we run. We run to enjoy ourselves and to achieve great things, but also just know that I'm at mile 12 and I'm not even halfway. That sort of philosophy. Just need to keep that close by, I think, especially for I've got another marathon the week after. So even if I'm feeling great at mile 21 in Brighton, then I need to think, I am actually really only halfway, with probably a very sort of hobbly week around the office at work to come as well.
So what will that week look like between them? Have you thought about that?
I think, so there's no other events in between, which is great, because I've done quite a few midweek events. So it's just going to be very restful. A couple of easy runs. I like running at lunchtime with some friends from work, so maybe pop out on a lunch break, maybe on the Wednesday. maybe a bit of walking as well. I mean, just keeping some movement going, so don't completely seize up. Talking about how important rest is, we do need to keep moving as well. So just taking it easy, fueling properly, staying hydrated, getting enough sleep, just trying to do the basics right. Making sure I'm not going to any gigs on the night before, like anything daft like that. So just trying to keep the social calendar, under control. Maybe some drinks with some friends or something, but more restful. Just knowing that you're almost there, while still trying to tick over quietly.
Yeah, and you'll have a long journey up to Manchester, of course, from where you are in the southwest as well.
Yeah.
Have you done Manchester before?
No, so I've only ever done London. Done London once. But I'm hearing now that Manchester's the fourth biggest marathon in Europe and the second biggest in the UK. So I think there's tens of thousands of people up there. So I'm just really looking forward to the atmosphere, to be honest, of just being having a taste for it at the Bath Half Marathon. I think that's between 10 and 15,000. Brighton as well, I think, is around 15. So just enjoying the experience of a marathon weekend, and I'm finishing big. I need to finish big. So I've done all of these local races have been fantastic, and I've loved them. But to finish with two marathons, especially the fourth biggest in Europe as the last one, is going to be big. So I can't wait.
I would certainly recommend Manchester because that's my local race and that's where my PB is. So I know you're not aiming for anything fast, but it is a good course and you'll enjoy the crowd and the course. I think it's a great marathon.
Yeah, or maybe I should aim for your time. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, well, I'm not a speedy runner like you, James. My PB, which I'm very proud of, I must add, is 3:58, and that took a lot of hard work. So I'm very proud of that. So maybe if you aim for that, that'll be well within your comfort zone.
I would be chuffed a bit to go sub 4 for either of those marathons. I've heard Brighton's not massively flat as well, so that's something I keep in mind. But sub 4 for marathon is amazing, I think.
Yeah, I'm very proud of that, and I think for that reason I've never been back to marathons because I'm scared I'll never get that time again. So I'm over on trail running now.
Yeah, can't beat trail running yet.
So that leads me to my quick fire round to finish off the episode, really. So first one is road or trail. Which have you preferred more over the last year?
I always think that it's such a tough one for me. I started out road running. I always find the trail running I just find more fun, I think, in terms of just if it's a club run or something like that, then it's more of a social event, or just for comedy value, like if you're running through bogs and streams, and I think it's great for that. Road running I love just for PBs, for really like going for times and stuff. So I mean, are you going to make me choose? I know it's so tough for me to just pick one. I would say I'm going to upset some of my friends that just road run or trail run, but let's go with trail running just because it's more fun, and that's what running's about, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We need to keep it fun, don't we? So I think you've already answered this in the episode, but I'm going to answer it anyway. So favourite event?
Yeah, I would think I'd stick with Bath. I've actually got the medal next to me, which I think was one of the most beautiful medals I've ever seen, which is the Bath Half Marathon. So that's probably my favourite medal I've had for all the races that I've done. This gold one from my home race on my birthday. So absolutely love that one.
Yeah, that's stunning. One to be treasured forever.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Toughest event of the last year?
I mean, definitely the Grizzly is just such an iconic race, and it is super tough. I mean, even if you're just aiming to finish, it's just the terrain and all the different types of things that you face across the whole course. Just the elevation, the mud, just the pebble beaches at 17 miles, like all of that sort of stuff. It's brutal. But anyway, it's just such a fulfilling thing when you get to the end, and it's just got some quirky stuff as well. That you get hosed down by the fire brigade at the end in mud. It's just got a lot of fun about it as well. But that's definitely tough. The other one I would just pick out quickly is the first Bath Half Marathon, because I was just coming back from injury. I found that super tough to try and get through a half marathon, and that was just the first event. So I'm thinking at the end, I've got 39 to go, and I'm not feeling very fit at the moment. So those two probably, I would say, have just felt the most difficult and the most challenging.
Yeah. What's your go-to pre-event food?
So we're talking like the morning of the race?
Yeah, like breakfast to kind of fuel you up,
Yeah.
really.
Well, first of all, I like to try and eat early. So I'm looking forward to the alarm not going off quite so early on a Sunday from April onwards, because I like to get up and have breakfast early, so everything's nice and settled before I drive off to the race. It's nothing too spectacular, really. I like to try and keep things as they are, so nothing too exotic or anything like that. You don't want to be doing that sort of thing on the morning of a race.
No.
So normally hot porridge with some chopped banana, and then I'll put in some peanut butter or some dates or something like that, and just plenty of water, hydration. So a bit dull, to be honest, but it's something which works for me, and just it's fueled me well. So I'll be carrying on with that.
Yeah, it's important to keep things simple and stick to what we know sometimes, especially with fuel,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so to finish then, what's one word to describe Mission 40?
So I've been thinking about this. I think it's probably just, I think connection, really, which sounds like an odd word to use for like a running challenge, but I think, well, it's just one person doing, a challenge they've set themselves, but just so it works on many ways. Having the connection to the charity, which is obviously something which is really important to me, and also just having the connection with all the people that I've done these events with. I've had so many people from my running club, friends, family, cousins, all say to me, when's your next race, or can I come and support, or I would like to get a 10K in, will you run it with me? And I can use that as an event for myself as well. So having the connection has definitely been something. It's ended up being something bigger than I thought it was going to be, which is just raising money for charity, which is a great thing to do. And I've managed that, and I'm up to over £2,500 now, which is amazing. And trying to get to 3,000 before the end. But just it's been much more fulfilling than I thought it was going to be, in terms of having everybody around me doing it with me, and asking if they can come along, or give me the next 3 races so I can pick one and come with you. That's been really, really special.
Yeah, oh, that's fantastic. So where do you go after Mission 40 then? Has it changed the way you'll approach your running and races, do you think?
So the first thing I'm going to do after Mission 40 is go to bed. That's the first place I'm going. But no, seriously, I think so I've got a couple of races that I've signed up for in the autumn. So I've managed to get a place at the Great North Run, which I know is really sought after.
Yeah, well done. Yeah.
The biggest half marathon in the world. So that's going to be amazing. So I think it would be nice to have a break. So definitely. I mean, I do struggle to keep still, but I'm normally moving or running or walking or doing something. So, but I'm definitely taking a good week off, I think, afterwards, and then maybe 2. But I'll probably be out running again pretty soon afterwards. But having the Great North Run, and I've also got Cardiff Half Marathon I've managed to get into as well, which was balloted. So maybe picking one of those 2 to actually go for a PB now, because I feel like I've got such a great baseline fitness for any sort of distance that I fancy, and just trying to keep that momentum going over the summer, and having a training block for a specific distance in the more traditional sense would be something which I'd be keen to do, and just proving as well that I'm 41 and I set my PB for a half marathon when I was 31. So having that level of fitness now to try and go under 1 hour 30 for a half marathon again, I'm feeling quite confident about it. So that's probably the next thing that I'll be looking at doing. And again, just proving you don't have to be 30 to if you get to 40, it's not the end. It's not you can push on, and I know lots of people setting PBs in their 40s now. So which is great, because I've just made it there. So looking forward to trying that.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I have every faith in you, because it sounds like it's really helped your fitness this last year. So is half marathon your favourite distance, would you say?
It's tough to know. I mean, I definitely find it a nice distance to train for. Like, training for a marathon is huge. Like, I know a lot of the listeners will be just, you put it takes over your life if you're going for a PB, or even if you're just aiming to finish, whatever your aim is, to train for and finish and get to the start of a marathon is massive. So probably at the moment, I mean, it changes, but probably at the moment, I think a half marathon is something which I'm really keen to get my teeth back into in terms of times, trying to improve time. So you do need to train hard for it, but you're not going out and doing 20-mile training runs and that sort of thing. So it feels a little bit more manageable while still being a big, a big challenge and a big distance to cover.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for coming on and chatting to us, James. It's been lovely talking to you, and all the best with Brighton and Manchester. Thank you for the exclusive there. Well, that's very exciting. So where can people follow your journey and support you? And we will put these links in the show notes as well, but let us know.
Probably the best place to follow me is on Instagram. So I'm at James_T_Hunter. So that's my Instagram handle. And then I've got a Just Giving page for RUHX, which basically, if you just go onto Just Giving and search James Mission 40, I should hit the top of the page. So that's where you can donate if you're in the Southwest, or if you're anywhere over the UK and you want to donate to a good cause, then that's where you can find me.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Any final message for our listeners to leave them with some inspiration?
Yeah, I think if you're looking to do something big, whether it's your 18th or your 40th or your 70th, I think I've just learned the lessons I've learned from this is that it doesn't matter what age you are. I think if especially if you're older and you're thinking you're starting to slow down, but you want to be going quicker, that if you get yourself organized and you're consistent and you've got a clear goal and you've got plenty of support and connection around you, then you can do it. And it's I'm hoping that I can get to the end now, and that will be I can definitely say that's a case in point, because I'm not quite there yet, but I think just trusting in your goals and having the confidence to go for it, and put yourself out there. And there's nothing wrong with failing either. There's nothing wrong with that. If you give it a go and you don't make it, even if I get to the end and I finish 39 events, I've still raised a ton of money and I had an absolute ball along the way. So I think that's the sort of final message, really.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Well, it's been brilliant to hear the full story behind Mission 40, not just the scale of it, but the meaning behind it as well. So thank you very much. And if you're listening and you'd like to support James or follow the final stages of his Mission 40 challenge, including his 2 back-to-back marathons, we'll include all the links in the show notes. If you've enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to share it with a friend. And we'll be back soon with another story from our running community. Until then, happy running.
Thank you.